family is grieving the loss of their 23-year-old son tonight.
And now they say they have a warning for anyone else looking at options for drug recovery. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with why a South Florida treatment home is at the center of this discussion. Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, this story involves two young men from Rock County struggling with opioid addiction in their early 20s. And while they never had a chance to meet, their stories are similar. And now both families are trying to get the truth out there about what they call the Florida Shuffle.
Picture, Adam. I think
Seth Stricklin's mom and dad never got rid of his childhood drawings.
Bad things I've done this year.
Or the letters he wrote in elementary school. The Janesville family says these show what made him special.
Seth was a very bright young man, very caring, charismatic.
But when Stricklin was a teenager, his parents, Mark and Joyce, noticed a change.
We started noticing him being more distant, him being more irritable.
And after a hospitalization, found out he had several drugs in his system, including heroin. What followed was a 7-year rehabilitation journey to 4 different states. Seth made progress, but like a black cloud, addiction followed him back home.
He ended up reacquainting with some old friends, using again, and here we go again.
Desperate for a solution, his parents sent him to a sober living home in South Florida this past October.
They assured us that this was the place for him. This is where he would find his sobriety.
It was the last time they would see him alive. Days ago, Seth died of a heroin overdose. He was 23.
We sent him as a whole person with promise, hope, a future, and a whole life ahead of him. And what we got back was a box with no explanations behind it.
Seth's story made its way to Brooke McKern, who had also sent her son Nick to South Florida in hopes of him getting clean. Before last December, he overdosed at his room in the facility. That's when McKern started looking more closely into the home itself.
There's no supervision there of any kind. There was no counselors, no medical staff.
South Florida has dozens of homes like the ones Seth and Nick stayed in, all marketing themselves as a way to get clean in the Florida sun. But these facilities are starting to get exposed for their lack of staff or rules. Earning the nickname the Florida Shuffle, it's described as a way for these properties to make money off addicts they bring in. Well, the addicts routinely use places like this to relapse or overdose.
The Florida Shuffle is a bottomless moneymaker between the facilities, between the lab companies, between the doctors.
Seth's parents say since their son's death, they've been kept in the dark.
We weren't offered any closure. We weren't offered any condolences, nothing.
Tonight, issuing a warning to all parents.
South Florida is not the answer for your addict, for your loved one. It's not the answer.
McKern says 5 months after her son Nick overdosed at that Florida home, another person overdosed in the same home. And since then, she's actually taken a trip to Florida to search for the answers she says she still hasn't gotten. But tonight, she says, if you are looking for a place for your loved one with an addiction to go, to look for a place that's joint credited. She also says that if you do have a loved one that is struggling with an opioid addiction, to reach out to the community around you for help.
Yeah, wow, a disturbing story. Our thanks to those families for sharing with us.
Very
Adam
brave
Duxter
of them.
In Janesville. Adam, thank you.
Thank you, Adam.